Ow! Look at my arm there. Yeah, I got the brace off. That brace that they gave me was way too tight. I had not taken it off since Tuesday, and I should have probably. But to me, it felt like it was helping me. But boy, it was actually causing, like, every day even before the brace, 4 or 5 days before the brace, my arm was aching a lot more than it had been. More along the lines how it felt the first few weeks after it got broke, when they were giving me pain medicine. Anyway, yesterday I took the brace off and took a shower, and this part of my arm was it was formed to where it had been so tight, so I just left it off for most of the evening. I put it back on briefly last night, and then I just took it off. I'm just going to be careful. This part, if you'll look, or let's see, you'll notice this goes up a little, and that's where it broke. He said it'll always have that little curvature that goes kind of upward. So even if I asked him a few weeks ago, I was like, well, if I had gotten the surgery immediately and we didn't have to deal with the back situation and then me missing the next time we had set it up, would that have been like this? He said you would have still had a little bit of a curve to it as where it's healing. It probably wouldn't have been as much. So, if I'm looking at it, it looks like it's swelled up, but that's part of just the way it's healing back. Anyway, there's been plenty of times I broke a finger. Well, matter of fact, that finger there that I had cut off by my friend, I had broke that when I was in like 9th grade or something, skateboarding, and never went to the hospital. My mom just splinted it. I told the story back either the beginning of the year or sometime towards the end of last year. I told you about the finger and what happened and how I had it removed. Anyway, let's not get into too much of that. That can be for another retelling at some other point in the future. I'm going to start trying to move forward on telling y'all a little bit about my backstory again. I said this past week that was something I want to work on. I just haven't got to it yet. So I'm going to read from Random Acts of Kindness. And I don't know. Well, that don't help too much, does it? Let's try to do that there. Does that help a little better? Good Lord. I'm just winging it. I always just wing it, kind of. I just make a video. Occasionally, I have said this to you guys. A lot of times, if I have messed up, if I don't get it in about 3 takes or maybe 4 at the most, I may just stop for a minute and come back to it later. But for the most part, what you're seeing most of the time is a one-shot deal. And if I start watching it and don't like how it went into it, then that's when I redo it. But this is from Random Acts of Kindness. I really thought this was a pretty cool story. I moved into a new house a few years back. It was the first time I had a yard of any size. There was a small lawn, about 30 rose bushes, 6 camellias, 5 rhododendrons, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and numerous smaller plants, which at the time I could not even name. I was a bit overwhelmed and not doing a very good job of maintenance, especially of cutting the grass. After a few weeks, I noticed vaguely that something seemed different when I came home one evening, but I didn't pay too much attention. Then one day I came home to find freshly cut grass precisely trimmed around the edges of all around the sidewalks and driveway. I realized that someone had been weeding and pruning almost every day while I was away at work. Finally, I caught the culprit in the act, my 86-year-old neighbor, Mr. Okamoto. It's now been 7 years, and he's still doing it, not only my yard, but the one behind his house and the one on the other side of his house. He's now 93, and I don't know how long I'll be blessed with his diligent work. Maybe forever. And underneath the first page, there is a quote. I am done with great things and big plans, great institutions and big success. I am for those tiny, invisible, loving human forces that work from individual to individual, creeping through the crannies of the world like so many rootlets, or like the capillary oozing of water, which, if given time, will rend the hardest monuments of pride. William James. Of course, I don't know who that is. I guess I'll look him up. Then here's one by somebody I do know and have read several things from him, Joseph Campbell. People say that what we're all seeking is a meaning for life. I think that what we're really seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the purely physical plane will have resonance within our innermost being and reality, so that we can actually feel the rapture of being alive. And that was Joseph Campbell. Big on mythology. You know, he's got a lot of good stuff written and said a lot of good stuff about archetypes and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, yeah. I think I might make that quote into a little reel or a short or something. I don't know. And then I got another thing picked out that I'm just going to do for a short, and it's a cool little thing there. So anyway, there I am yawning. Till next time, Mr. Cloud, old Mr. Cloud, Gray Cloud. Oh. Over and out. Ditto.